Mm-hmm. 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 Surprise,
Let's
traders. How
go.
are we doing? God bless each and every single one of
I
you
woke
guys.
up.
Today, we're going to be giving you an update on stock ticker AMC, as well as Gamestop and some of the other small tickers like IWM and the GME Warrants. So, hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. We're going to be jumping straight into the technical analysis. But before we do so, I want to give a shout out to my man JCKPA, baby, and almost at 1,600 subscribers. So it would mean a lot, right? Get us over the hump and appreciate the donation because it means a lot, right? Jumping into the video, we have still that flag formation on AMC and a little bit of a falling wedge, right? Descending support and descending resistance is going to meet its head at some point, right? You're going to break or break down from this at some point, but there are signs to me showing me that on the 4-hour chart that we are going to see a little bit of life here on the stock. And what that is, right? That's a falling wedge on the RSI that you've broken from and are starting to pick up steam, right? You have the RSI curling up while the 4-hour RSI is curling down, right? The band. And those, I assume, will intersect. And hopefully, right, the 4-hour RSI can get back into the bull zone because that's where the craziest, most volatile, violent moves happen. We had it happen back here where you saw a 14% 4-hour move, guys. That is insane on the 4-hour chart. You saw a pullback and then continuation, right? So this has always been my bias. I said from the beginning, as soon as you hit this trend line, you are going to find resistance. Hit this trend line, you find resistance. This one was crazy, right? Another 14% 4-hour move. But there is no way in you know what that you're going to blast past this trend line at 191 on the first shot. You're just not, right? It's going to be multiple different lines of resistance that you meet along the way. But this one particularly, right, was very hard. Support here, support here, support. You rejected it there and then rejected it and then rejected it, and finally rejected it again, right? So now that you are falling into it, right, you're testing the wedge. You broke free of this red trend line here as well. And I want to emphasize that for you guys because right now you're kind of just ping-ponging in between the two. But they're both very important trend lines, right? This was your previous support. This was your previous resistance. We are in between both right now, and that's been something that you could not say for quite a long time. This was your initial June pennant resistance that you failed to hold so many different times, and then finally, right, slapped you down here. Both of them kind of intersected and just obliterated you. And what you're doing right now, right, is you rejected it, and then now you're retesting it at the same exact time. But traders, I do believe that there is some life left in this stock because of the falling wedge on the 4-hour RSI. You have the falling wedge in the 4-hour here. And right on the daily time frame, you saw a nice little blip of volume here on the daily, more than the last previous red 2 days. So what I'm seeing here on the daily chart for AMC is you are reclaiming the 9-day EMA. You wicked below it and you closed green. That's a bullish development, right? Even though you failed to hold this uptrend, it is in my belief, right, if the volume continues to ramp up here and bulls get some momentum, I don't think that you're going to be able to stop this thing from breaking back above 170. I mean, I just don't. So I see that as a positive development. However, if this continues to stall and you lose the 9-day EMA and you see volume step in for the bears and you see the MACD cross red, there will be nothing stopping bears from dropping this thing to 144. It's going to happen very quickly. So that's what we're watching for on the daily chart for AMC. 144, critical support, right? Because you're going to have the 50-day EMA curling up here by the time you reach that. If you do, and if you do not hold the 50, guys, expect a freaking landslide that we're becoming accustomed to, right? Down 30% is that initial gap fill at 112, and then the second gap fill at 128. You would fill both of those. And although it wouldn't be the end of the world, right? Because I'm still bullish on the macro here after this upthrust, I think the best is yet to come, and the best case scenario is you hold this 50, guys. That would be so unbelievably bullish, right? If you could start to staircase this thing to heaven above the 200, leading to your first golden cross since back here at February 1st of 2021. And you're seeing a lot of the same vibes a lot of different similarities to 2021. And although they say history does not repeat itself, it does often rhyme. You're seeing GameStop, guys, go on an absolute tear recently, getting a golden cross follow through for the first time since 2024, right? You're seeing other people like Ryan Cohen double down. Michael Burry says that GME, GameStop, is 1/3 of the Big Short's portfolio. That's insane, right? And so when you're looking at all of these different things, Roy and Kitty making his trading profile pro, a lot of these things are coming together beautifully, and all of it stems back into IWM, right? I don't want you guys to look over IWM because the chart is so beautiful, and this is going to positively affect AMC, GameStop, all the like, right? NEO, and all the small cap stocks for that matter, right? So you see every single time here on the monthly chart that you get a flat top resistance, you break, retest, and pop, right? Break, this one you just gapped up. Break, gap up. Break, gap up. Break, retest, and then bullish engulfing on the monthly. Are you freaking kidding me? Right? You see that candle right there is just a thing of beauty. And every single time, right, this is a bullish engulfing here. You see these bullish engulfing candles, guys, you go on nice runs. Bullish engulfing, nice run. Bullish engulfing, nice run. Let's see another one. Bullish engulfing, kind of nice run. Bullish engulfing, nice run. So, I mean, the stock market is set up in a way that a lot of people are not going to expect, right? When IWM cruises another 17% to 322, and a lot of these small cap assets would be squeezing at that point, as you see a lot of different stocks already slipping through the cracks, like CAR. This is part of our belief that you are going to see a lot of these nasty moves, right? CAR doing the same thing it did in 2021 during this run up from $6 all the way up to 500. You've now done a 87 all the way up to 800. So I expect a lot of these kinds of squeezy moves to occur in the markets. You see BlackBerry, right? Just look at the monthly candle on that. That's insane. Up 64% after a slide all the way down on lessening and lessening volume. You see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, pretty much, yeah, a full year almost of price action engulfed by one single month. And I don't think that this is a phase, right? I think this is going to continue. So looping this back into AMC, you can see the exact same thing, baby, right? I mean, this is where it starts to get really exciting because you see on the macro a 80 or 68% month so far. Wowee, wow. And this is coming off of the 1, 2, 3, 4th tap of this falling support line that we called beautifully, I mind you. And this thing was not going to go down forever, right? I think that is what I want to emphasize to traders. Although do your own due diligence, right? Don't listen to me. I'm not a financial advisor. Just do the chart for yourself, right? I'm trying to mimic what I'm doing and see with your own eyes, see with your own opinions. This thing is not going to slide forever. You're going to meet critical support. And when you did, right, you see boom, boom candles like this. And it just so happens, right, you are at a point of critical reflection in the stock. And if you see a break here, it's very likely, in my opinion, that you come up here to $4. And once you get up here to $4, if you can base and range, it's likely, right, that you retest your previous all-time low at $10. Right. And that's where it starts to snowball, because if you get above $10, right, on the daily time frame, you have multiple gaps above you. Let's zoom out. You have a gap at 13. Whoops. Let's just turn the light on because my light died. You have a gap at 13. You have a gap at 18 or 19 and 43. So that's a significant bullish chart for AMC. And a lot better than we looked, right? So mind you, there's always the opportunity that this thing coils back down and makes a slightly lower low at 87, maybe even $70 or 70 cents, depending on where you tap this thing. But I would be covering it every step of the way. And I want to say this to you guys with all honesty, that if you do, I expect a touch of bullish divergence, and I will be shouting from the hills just like we were back here. So That's our coverage on AMC so far today. Let's jump straight into GameStop, because on GameStop, right, you're seeing the same thing you're seeing at AMC. You're seeing a break of that volume downtrend, which is nice, and a green candle up 2% today. You're basing above the 9-day EMA and beginning to, right, if we pull up the Bollinger Bands, which I have not looked at yet, but I am genuinely curious, you're beginning to see Bollinger Band expansion on the daily, right? And then on the weekly, what are you seeing? Bollinger Band expansion. On the monthly, what are you seeing? You're seeing Bollinger Band squeezing or tightening. But the biggest thing here is on the monthly time frame, you are now above the monthly Bollinger Band's mid-band for the first time since back here. And that's a beautiful thing when you are squeezing on the bands this heavily, guys. This is going to lead to a very, very big move, right? You could see that typically when you slice above from beneath, you see big moves, right? This was your first slice up from beneath after trading underneath it for over 2 years, right? 2022 all the way to 2024, you were underneath this band. You rejected it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times rejected. Well, now you lost it back in 2025, and now you're slowly popping your head back above it. So when I talk about bullish momentum, right, GameStop has $10 billion of cash on hand, plus Bitcoin and a couple other assets, right? You've only sliced above it here and here from beneath, as well as 2020. There is a lot of similarities, right? 2024, you had a MACD cross up. 2020, you had the MACD cross up on the monthly, and you are about to see the same exact thing, guys. This is what a lot of traders look for. You want to see technical confluence on every single level of the chart, right? So on the Bollinger Bands, monthly bands are squeezing. Check that box. Daily golden cross. Check that box. You're going to have a monthly MACD cross. Check that box. Insiders are buying. Check that box. Michael Burry is buying. Check that box. Short interest is still high. Check that box. So all of these things are lining up for GameStop to do something stupid. And on the bright side, right, regardless of how much chop you're seeing here, the technical price target from this move out, and I know we've talked about it before, but this is a flag, right? That's your flagpole. This is your flag, and then you've now broken the flag. Right? So your technical pattern takes you upwards of $31. So regardless of what you're hearing online, what you're hearing, the chart is telling me $31 could be imminent. And I genuinely hope for the best because I want you guys to win. I want our thesis to play out, right? IWM, AMC, GameStop, all looking nasty on the charts. And it's about time, right? That's all I have to say. It's about time that retail steps back into the market because the sentiment in the market has been driven by a lot of the blue chip stocks. But something that I showed neo investors yesterday, and I want to show you guys too. Look at the IWM/SPY chart on TradingView and just take it in, right? This is the first time. Hold on, I got to refresh. IWM/SPY. This is the first time in a very long time, traders, that you are seeing, just going to enter, that you are seeing a risk on market, guys. Take that in, right? This is a chart that is going to emphasize when the IWM or small cap stock basket is outperforming the broader market, right? The S&P 500. It's happened a few times that you've broken above resistances and went parabolic, but 2021 was one of them, right? Saw this move up, and that's when you saw AMC, GameStop, crypto, Neo all go to the moon, right? You saw printing from the Fed, which you're seeing right now, and you saw rates come down dramatically. This is a break of a 4 to 6 year falling wedge, right? That's a crazy thing that no one's talking about. You had a retest of it back in November, and you've been uptrending ever since. In doing so, right, you're also seeing IWM print a bullish engulfing on the monthly time frame. And although you could pull back one more time before seeing upside, guys, because I do not want to minimize the risk of these following gaps, right? As this thing just goes parabolic to all-time highs. I cannot help but laugh at the bears who said that this thing was done. And to emphasize that our thesis is coming true, right? 320 to 3 whatever this hits. I'm taking the previous two tops from 2020 and 2021, and I'm emphasizing that as a part of resistance in which I believe you could tap during this next leg up, right? So that's what I believe to be happening on IWM. AMC looks nasty. GameStop looks nasty. Now let's get into the warrants, baby. On the warrants, you have a very drawn out head and shoulders inverted, right? And that's what I covered in the last video. You've been trading between the 50 and the 200 on the 4-hour chart, and you're still doing so, right? You saw a candle go above the 9-day EM or 9 EMA on the 4-hour, and that's where you saw volume and momentum pick up. But you need to break the 200, right? You've been pinned underneath it since March 30th, so that's disgusting. But the technical breakout is this flagpole, taking the base of the head all the way up to the neckline, and that takes you upwards of 450. Once you're above 450, traders, there's a high opportunity for you to reestablish support here and then go back to the top of this wedge, sitting at 510 about, right? Give or take. On the daily time frame, let's take a little peeky weeky at that. And the inverted head and shoulders is never so evident on the daily. You're seeing a ramp up of the volume on the daily profile, which looks beautiful. You see an inverted hammer candlestick. I don't know why I got so excited there. An inverted hammer candlestick pattern, guys. As you see the 9-day curling up, it should act as rising support for this stock price. Until you pinwheel between the two and this squeezes you higher, right? I do believe that's going to break the neckline here and see positive momentum give you a return at these levels of about 20%. So all in all, traders, the stocks look nice. You all look nice. And I want to say thank you for the momentum on the channel. I really do appreciate getting 100 likes per video and getting your subscribe. So please, guys, it means the world. God bless each and every single one of your families. And remember, traders, the best is yet to come. Let's go. Come on.